It's alright.
Oh my god! Oh my god! The Vanquisher SMG gives you bonus fire rate while you're sliding. It's pretty okay. It's pretty okay. Next we got the Wagon Wheel. I guess we'll put it with our other Jacob's pistols. It's okay. The Warlord, Doll Assault Rifle, once again, doesn't do much. When you switch firing modes, it changes its zoom, and that's about it. Cool weapon, cool idea for a weapon, but doesn't actually really do anything. Next, Wood Blocker. If you have a Wood Blocker, you should totally send them to your favorite streamer that isn't me, because they're terrible and hilarious to receive in the mail. Go block some people's woods, but send them wood blockers in the mail, but not me, because I don't want your wood blockers. Send them to someone else. Next, we have the Hand of Glory. It is a mission reward on Eden 6, if I'm not mistaken, and it's really good at vendoring. Could be a fun weapon to play with during your playthrough, but besides that, it's pretty terrible. Next, we got the Shocking AAA, one of my favorite pistols in the game. Really, really cool. I'd rank it up in the top 5 pistols easily. In fact, I did. We're going to put it in... I wouldn't say it's as great as these weapons here. I would more put it... If we're ranking the Crossroads down here, I think it has to go in that some damage. It's solid in terms of best pistols. There's not that many great pistols. Cutsman, you know what it is. Maybe the hardest hitting boss killing weapon in the game. If there was a tier above, that's a lot of damage, it would be there. This gun deserves to be up here, dude. Well, so does the Recursion. But, like, truly, the Cutsman is a must-have for any character in Borderlands 3. It has received some nerfs, I believe, and it still slaps everything. The dot on this thing is crazy. The damage on it is crazy. It is a 100% must-have for Borderlands 3. If you're playing on the toughest difficulties, 10 out of 10, get yourself some Cutsmans. Comes in Fire, Shock, and Corrosive, which is awesome. All the main elements. Get yourself a Cutsman. You will be glad you did. Next up, we got the Devoted. The Devoted does okay damage. I'm personally not a big fan of it. I would rank some of these. Actually, no. The Devoted is some damage. The Devoted does some damage. This is Embrace the Pain. The Embrace the Pain and More Pain is Power are both very similar assault rifles that COV weapons. The Embrace the Pain is has a random chance to light you on fire. This weapon on its own is not very good, but when you pair it with an elemental projector, which will light yourself on fire while you're shooting it and then give you bonus incendiary damage, is in fact quite good, but only if you're using with an elemental projector. I'm gonna put it in That's Some Damage. While we're here, we're also just going to grab the More Pain is Power. It does the same thing, but I don't think it does it as well. So we're going to put that one in That's Okay Damage. Alright, next up, we have the Hellfire Smg. Hellfire Smg, it was one of my favorite weapons in Borderlands 2. It does the poo-poo in this game, 100% filled with the poo-poo. Shoot the poo-poo. It's a cool weapon, so I don't know if I would, delete it. Yeah, that sucks. I don't like it. There's some weapons in here that do about the same amount of damage. We'll put it in That's Okay Damage. It's not the lob. You know, it's not the lob. We have one image for the King's/Queen's Call. Basically, different names for different elemental variants of the King/Queen's Call. Drops for Tyrene and Troy. Very, very awesome weapon. It used to be brokenly OP before they nerfed it. Thankfully, they nerfed this and didn't look at my girl Amara. Hashtag spiritual driver for life. It's good damage. It's not as OP and as needed as this game, as some of these weapons, but it can still put in some absolute work. It works with multiple projectiles. Any gun that works with multiple projectiles right now is kind of kicking some butt in this game. It's good damage. It is a good weapon to use on pretty much any character. Next, we got the Lucien's Call. Awesome weapon. Really, really awesome weapon. That's going in the good damage category. High rate of fire. It has the perk that when you hit headshots, it ricochets, and adds ammo to the magazine, which is really, really nice. Super awesome weapon. Great weapon on Zane. Great weapon on a lot of characters. Next, we got the Ogre. The Ogre was, once again, a sick Borderlands 2 weapon. One of my favorites on my Explosive Exton build. And in this game it does some damage. It's definitely not good damage. It's not as bad as some of these things, but it's not very good. Super Bowl. I think this is a delete this. It's the poo-poo. Next up, we got the TK's Wave. Very bad weapon. TK's Wave pays tribute to TK from Borderlands 1. Okay damage. If you barrel stuff someone right in the face with it, you could probably hurt them. But other than that, it's not so great. The Butcher does some damage. It's a cool weapon to use on Moes. It doesn't do a lot of damage. It's received a decent amount of nerfs that kind of broke this weapon. It used to be one of my favorite weapons. Now I don't like it so much. I don't bother using it. Next up, we got the Voltiro Mallow SMG. If you haven't done the Insider program, you can't get this SMG. I wouldn't delete it because, you know, like, I think you can only get one, but it's, you're not going to use it. Next up, we got the Freeman Rocket Launcher. It's okay. Next, we got the Mind Killer Shotgun. It's a little underrated. It does some damage. Not going to put it any higher than that. The Companion, a incendiary Jacob's pistol that ignites enemies. Not the biggest fan of it, but it's a Jacob's pistol, so it does solid. It's going in some damage. The Storm, you can throw it right in the trash. It's pretty terrible. Next up, we got Sledge's Shotgun. It's okay. Does okay damage. The Maggie. Boy, oh boy. This was one of my favorite weapons in Borderlands 2. It has easily become one of my favorite weapons in Borderlands 3. The Maggie is a must-have for about every character. It works really well on Zane. It works really well on Amara. Really well on Flak. No matter what situation you're in, whether you're bossing, mobbing, whatever you want to do, the Maggie kills shit. Definitely a top 5 must-have weapon. Next up, we got the Chaos. Another incredible Doll assault rifle that does okay damage. Oh, the Flacker. Flacker got nerfed hard, but it's still a really good weapon. There's only one shot in it, though, which makes it more difficult to utilize than it used to be before its nerf. But the Flacker is pretty awesome. I'm gonna put it in that's good damage, because when you're using it properly, you can put out some pretty stupid DPS with it. Alchemist is a weapon that hurts you as you shoot it. It does shock damage. You can use that to drop boosters. On Moes, you can drop all the stickies on an enemy and just melt them. The Alchemist puts down bosses like it's its job. Really awesome weapon. It's not a great mobbing weapon because you have to shoot all your bullets and then reload just to get like any damage out of it. So it's much better suited boss killer. This is the Gunnerang. I wish if I threw this thing away, it would stop coming back to me because it's terrible. We'll put it in okay damage. The Night Flyer. Cool weapon. It actually can't kill enemies. It gets them down to 1 health, and then unless you're using elemental damage or like a dot or something on it, you actually can't kill them. So it's like sole purpose is not to do a lot of damage. Getting enemies to 1 health is still better than most of these weapons down here. So we'll put it in okay damage. Next, we got the Psycho Stabber. It's okay. Melee, COV weapon. Not the biggest fan of it. Next up is the Mongol flat-off rocket launcher. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm sure comment section you'll correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure this weapon is unobtainable. It looks badass and it's a flat-off rocket launcher. I'm going to scoot it down to the bottom of our thing because I can't rank it if it's not in the game. Next up, we got the Nimble Jet. It is okay. Next up, the Furbert. Furbert drops from Wick and Wardy. It is a pretty actually awesome shotgun. I do like it. It's going in that's some damage. One of my favorite weapons to grab early on while leveling. It's pretty good. The Redline Shotgun. I have mixed feelings about this because I've had a really difficult time trying to get this. It drops from Road Dog. It's a pretty sick weapon, but it's so hard to get, and I haven't really gotten to play around with it that much. So we're gonna put it in that's good damage. It's pretty solid. Next up, we got the One Pump Chump. My nickname. Solid, 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 but not as great as these weapons. Next up, we have the Horizon Shotgun. I can't really rate this one either, just cause I personally haven't ever used it. Next up, we have the Tidal Wave. It is gonna do some damage. Tedious pistols, if you haven't caught the current trend, are the poo-poo. The Scorpio is no different. In fact, the Scorpio is so much of the poo-poo that I would delete it. Next up, we got the Westar Gun. A really great replacement. If you don't have a Kibsworth, the Westar Gun is a solid replacement for that. I'm going to put it in that some damage. Next up, we got the Masterwork Crossbow. It's going in some damage. The Masterwork Crossbow does a lot of damage if you can hit a crit with it, but it's so hard to consistently hit enemies with it. The Firestorm is our next weapon. The Mallow Firestorm, Mallow Sniper. It does the poo-poo with the other Mallow Sniper rifles. Do not use. Next up, we have the Pestilence. I'm going to put it in that's some damage because I wouldn't rate it as highly as the Lenoge, but it's still good. Daddy's a Malik Spade. Boom. Delete that. Next up, we got the Fearmonger. The Fearmonger was a exclusive drop for the Halloween event. It was actually a pretty good shotgun. I liked it. I'm going to put it in that some damage. You can no longer get it through unless you're trading. We didn't have an image for the Zetsiv's Eruption. So this gold cutout is the Zetsiv's Eruption. Just pretend it's a Zetsiv's Eruption with all of its cool little details. Zetsiv's Eruption doesn't on its own do very much damage, but it enables you to do absurd damage on reload break. I'm going to put it in good damage because it's a weapon you should have. Next up, we got the Tiggs Boom. Currently doesn't do that much damage. We're going to put it in some damage. Next up, we got the Moonfire. We're going to put it in that's some damage. Next up, we got Julian's Dazzle. I actually love this weapon. I feel like this is one of the most underrated weapons. Julian's Dazzle is a splash damage weapon. You should give it a try on Fire Hose Mo's because it's awesome, and I plan to be doing some more experimenting with it. I'm going to put it up here with that's good damage because it actually does good damage, and I think it's really underestimated right now. Next up, we got the Kibsworth. You know what it is. Fire Hose is Mo's best weapon. It is a top tier weapon. Really hard to get one. Hard to get one with a good anointment. Next up, Voss Death Grip. If you haven't used Voss Death Grip with Driver, Amara, or Ricochet Witch, you should give it a try. This thing like shoots out laser beams, basically, that stay in place. I'm going to put it in that some damage because it's pretty specific, but you can get this gun to work, or you shoot at people's feet. Next up, the Tankman Shield. Captain Tron weapon. When you kill enemies, you're going to get more damage in your next magazine. It's currently hard to take full effect of this weapon in Mayhem 4. It does some damage. Oh boy, that next weapon is pretty. That is a redistributor. Currently, with the new meta of using it with amped shields, aka Livewire Mo's, or the infamous Chain Zane build. The redistributor chains on its 7th shot. When you're shooting it through Zane's barrier, which amps things, it'll chain every single shot. Same with Livewire Mo's using a level 1 rerouter. The best mobbing weapon in the game besides Ricochet, which is set up with the recursion. Or you can use the redistributor on any character, but I do think it's absolutely the best on Zane, and then Mo's shortly after that. Next up, we got the Crater. People like the Crater. I'm not the biggest fan of the Crater. Crater is good for boosting your movement speed. Honestly, I wouldn't really pull out this weapon. People like it on the Chain Zane build, but I like the redistributors more. I'm going to put it in that's some damage. Boy, the auto aim, or auto aimy, it's okay. It's supposed to redirect its bullets to hit headshots. It doesn't work that great. Next, we got the OK Boomer. The Boomer Doll Smg. The Boomer is a solid weapon. It's solid. It chews through ammo. It's going to do some damage. Next up, we got the Cheap Tips from the Jackpot DLC. It does some damage. This is the Craps Pistol. Now, I have been kind of pooping on Torque Pistols in this game, but the Craps Pistol is, in my opinion, the absolute best Torque Pistol in the game. It is going in that's good damage. Absolutely awesome. Not a must-have weapon, but really freaking good. Next up, we got the Creamer. The Creamer, super sick weapon in Borderlands 2. Moxie weapons, as I think we're about to get into some, not so good in this game because they don't heal that much. I'm going to put it in that's okay damage. It's really not that great. Next up, we got the Heartbreaker Jackpot DLC Shotgun. It does some damage. It's not that great. Next, we got the Ion Laser. The Ion Laser is actually a sick weapon. I really like it. the longer you hold it down, when you release the trigger, you can pump the trigger and shoot out little bursts of beams of energy that do really, really good damage. That is going to go in the good damage category. I really do like the ion laser. Next, we got the Lucky 7. Tough one to rank. If you're just using this to use it, you're not going to have a great time. But the Lucky 7, when rolled with all 5 modifiers, if you didn't know, when you reload this weapon, it rolls random perks that the weapon will keep until your next reload. If you're using a setup to never have to reload and you get all 5 perks and you're using a proper build to sustain that ammo, it does ridiculous amounts of damage. I'm not going to put it in that's a lot of damage, because that is reserved for our best of the best. While this is a top tier weapon, for general play, it's not that great and can be kind of frustrating. I could spend an hour just trying to roll this weapon to go through one area. So it's going to go in the good damage category. Next, we got the Nukem. The Nukem is also going in that's good damage. Nukem does a lot of damage. A lot of area effect damage. Was one of the most prominent weapons in the takedown challenge that I ran recently. We got Embers Purge next. Quest reward or challenge reward. It drops a pool of fire on enemies. When you shoot at them, the fire pool doesn't really do much damage. It's a cool looking weapon, but it doesn't do that much. Scoville. The Scoville is good damage. Really, really awesome weapon. You can use it on Moes with some for the road to have unlimited ammo that'll give you 5 seconds to basically blow up any single enemy you shoot at. It does a lot of damage with the right setup on Amara or, in my opinion, Moes. Next up, we got the Slow Hand, sick weapon for Borderlands 2, returning to Borderlands 3 in a miserable fashion. It does some damage. It belongs with the Heartbreaker. Next up, we got the Ion Cannon, hardest hitting weapon in the game. It is a lot of damage. Next up, we got the good Juju, a really cool weapon. It unfortunately doesn't perform very well on Mayhem 4, so it does some damage. When you kill enemies, you're going to rank up more damage, but it's really hard to kill enemies with it. It shreds on non-Mayhem 4 levels, but on Mayhem 4, which we're what we're ranking on, it doesn't do that much. To execute. Great weapon. Drops from General Trant. When you throw it, it debuffs enemies. You can keep throwing it. It's 50% per debuff. It works like the Zetsiv's Eruption. Where did I put the Zetsiv's Eruption? Put the Zetsiv's Eruption in good damage. It enables you to do some crazy damage. You have to throw it and empty the whole mag in order to get the debuff. For that reason, I don't love it as much as the Zetsiv's Eruption. Even though you can get more debuff, the Zetsiv's Eruption is just more convenient because you only have to swap for it for a second. So we're going to put the Execute in that's some damage. And then these last 3 weapons I haven't used or are not available in the game. So the finished list in the bottom will hopefully have these 3 weapons in it. But for the moment, I don't want to be wrong about any of these things. So I'm just going to leave them untouched. If you have opinions about these guns, leave them down in the comments. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. This is our finalized tier list of every Borderlands 3 weapon. If you guys like videos like this and want to see me rank more digs, duos, more stuff like this, make sure to leave a comment. I hope you enjoyed this little series. This is going to be an awesome resource for me to use in the future, to have in like the descriptions of my videos, to have an updated running thing in the Discord. So if you want to have access to this, this will be in the Discord. I'll also have a link if you want to do your own ranking. If you want to do your own template, make your own tier list in my Discord, I will also have a link / tutorial to do that. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you did, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace!